You go from an intern with the Montreal Expos to GM of Toronto Blue Jays. That's relatively a gopher for a team that no longer exists, to the leader of a team who's favored to win the World Series. Do you ever think back and look at your quick ascension and almost marvel how it happened?
After my father passed away, he had a heating and ventilation company, and I worked there for 2 years. He went to McGill, became an engineer, did all these things. It was a small 8 to 10 employee place, and I worked there for 2 years. I took night classes to learn heating and ventilation. I hated it, and I just decided I want to get into sports. I'll do whatever. I don't care about the money. I was 23, and from there it was just go, go, go. I just want to do something I enjoy, and I know it's complete cliche, do something you love, but I had seen the other side of it. When you wake up every day and you don't like what you're doing, and I was thinking at the time when I was working there, I was like, man, I'm going to do this the next 40 years of my life. And my friends were still partying and going to cottages and everything, and I just decided I want to do what I love. So I didn't care what I did in sports because it was so much better than the alternative. I knew if I failed, it's like going back to jail almost. You just didn't want to go back there. So whatever someone gave me to do, I was going to have a great attitude, whether it was mop the floors, go get a lunch. I loved scouting. I tried to use my opportunities to get better as an evaluator, get better as a scout. I went to Florida for a year and a half. I was on the field each day with players, with Latin players. That was great for me from a development standpoint, but I think every opportunity someone gave me, there was a lot of right place, right time. I loved it, so I immersed myself in it. And look, I got a lot of breaks, and I say it all the time, if I'd worked for the Twins or the Braves, I might still be in scouting, and that would have been fine. I was resigned to the fact that I'd be a scouting coordinator for a long time, and it was cool. It was fine. I didn't mind. I knew I didn't want to go get a real job or something that I didn't enjoy. So obviously it's nuts. I got the job at 32. I wasn't in a rush to be a GM because I hadn't been in the game that long. And if you ask me, as great as the job is, and it is, I think being a scouting director is way more fun. So, but I think I'll always be grateful, and I realize as quickly as I got the job, I know it could be gone tomorrow, and that's why it's never going to get to my head. And that's why the people that are in these positions, in any walk of life, that it gets to their head, they're not my kind of guys.
Scouting specifically, when you're talent evaluating, sometimes a GM could kind of have this dichotomy where you fall in love with your own players, but at the same time, every day you see some of their work. How do you manage that so you have a good, accurate read of your talent?
When I look back now, maybe because we needed talent, I was more hung up on just amassing talent, amassing tools, and I may not have put as much stock into, everyone says makeup, and it's just a vague term, the character, things like that, because talent does play. You can get grinders and gamers, but if you don't have any talent, you're not going to win. So I think the better your team becomes, you can start being a little more selective. I think now I'm learning as a GM, I'm not afraid to cut the cord on a player that, though talented, just may have some off-the-field warts. And it might be as simple as the work ethic isn't there, the drive isn't there. They're not a bad person. You go have a beer with them, good guy, but you don't know how important the game is to him. And those are the ones that now, in the past, I'd said, no, we can't give up that player. He's young, he's got ability, we can have him for a long time. And now I can quickly make the decision that, you know what, he just doesn't have it to be great. He's got talent, but he doesn't have it to be great. And I think I'm getting a lot better with being more comfortable turning the page on a player that as talented as they are, if they don't have that drive to get better and to be better and to be a good teammate, then we'll turn the page on. You do never stop learning. That's probably what makes sports so much fun, is that you have the best GMs in the game. They keep making mistakes. I mean, it's just no one's going to bat 1,000. And I get excited when you know what, we made a mistake with that draft pick, or we made a mistake with this trade, and okay, I will never accept, it happens, bad luck, it didn't work out, no way, we're going to get something from it. So I feel like, hopefully you don't make too many mistakes because you're not going to be sitting in your chair, but the mistakes that you do make, because you will make plenty, if you can take something from it and get better, that's what you have to do.
I imagine as a GM, sometimes you have so many irons in the fire trying to improve your team. How do you manage when you're chasing ghosts on something, wasting resources and just chasing your tail, and when you're really honed in on something and this deal or this acquisition can really work?
That's another one that I think I've learned too. First few years, like a chicken with the head cut off. I'm trying to get everybody, calling everybody. And again, being aggressive is great, but over time you start to learn the other GMs. You start realizing there might be a 10% chance that X player gets moved. Why spend 5 weeks and a million phone calls trying to get the 10% up to 80% or 90% to try to get a deal done? If people aren't motivated to do something, you're probably not going to get it done. That doesn't mean you just quit, but I think there's opportunities that I may have missed, or we may have missed, because we had too many balls in the air, too many things going on, and maybe one of those options has a much better chance of occurring. Let's take the bird in the hand. I think I'm learning to work smarter is probably the best way to put it.
What's success for this team this year? Obviously, the World Series is the goal, but if you fall short of that, is this year a failure?
No, and I get asked that all the time, and I know it's a trap in a lot of ways. If I put out a win total or playoffs or World Series, so I know what I say, it's going to get thrown back in my face a million times. But in fairness too, and it's not to dodge it, but everyone says it, World Series or bust, or playoffs or bust, or whatever it is. I look at Anaheim last year. They had a very good team. They didn't make the playoffs. They won more games than Detroit, who made the playoffs and went to the World Series, but they didn't get in. I don't look at them as a failure. They didn't reach their goal. So no question, their goal was to get in first to get to the World Series, but they didn't reach their goal of getting in the playoffs to put themselves in a position to get to the series. But that wasn't a failure of a season for me. So from that standpoint, I can't sit here and say, if we don't make the playoffs, if we don't get to the World Series, it's a failure. You can still have a great year. I mean, what if you're Anaheim? So, that obviously we'll let it play out, but and the other thing too is there's so much focus on the current year, which is fair, but the team isn't built that after 2013 we're going to tear it down. I mean, we have everybody under contract for quite some time. We've talked about being able to go on a run for a few years and hopefully keep it going. So no matter what happens, obviously unless the team just completely fails, this is a team that has a chance to be together for a while, and hopefully it's the start of a nice run for us.
You're a proud Canadian. What would it mean for you to be the architect of a team that brought a World Series back to Toronto and back to Canada?
It'd be great. And you know what? You see it too just in the off season. I know this sounds corny, but you want to come through because everyone's dying for it. Not only you see the excitement, I was telling some of the media, I'm at a light on Spadina and Queen or something, and I'm sitting there turning the knob on the radio, and I look up and there's some lady in front of my car, and right on my hood, pretty much, 2 thumbs up, and I jump back. But you could just tell the excitement. I'm coming out of a car wash, and someone's driving by, and they stop and they honk, and and that's just on hype. That's just on expectations or hope. You're thinking, wow, imagine if we won. And even, obviously the fans don't see this, but the people around the stadium that work for the team, it's a huge staff, the grounds crew, the people in sales, marketing, and so on. They're wearing their Blue Jays gear, and they go out, and everyone's asking them. Everyone that knows they work for the team, and they're getting asked about it too. And I know, and it's not to sound arrogant, but I know it falls on me because they can have all the ideas in the world, but it's on me to make the decision and make the trade or make the team better. So, and then obviously fans that live and die with the team, the box scores. I mean, I was a fan, I am a fan of sports, so if you can deliver the sense of pride you get across Canada to the organization. I've never won, obviously being in a sports organization with Toronto or with Montreal, so I can only imagine how amazing it would feel to get to that point.